So I'm trying to start like a little part sun. Hi, birdie. Little part sun pollinator garden in the back where I tried to grow vegetables last year, but it's not sunny enough for that. So I'm trying to choose some stuff that can handle a little bit of shade and a little bit of dryness because it's right at the base of a tree. So I winter sowed a bunch of stuff. Not all necessarily for this, right? I've got blue mistflower for another section. I've got river oats just because it popped up naturally in my backyard, and I was like, let's do more of that. I've got Yarrow here, Achillea millefolium, I don't know. Rudbeckia hirta, black-eyed Susans. I have partridge pea for the front of my yard, maybe. I got these free from a seed exchange program at the library. And some little Bluestem that I had a lot more of, but the squirrels in my yard, because it's so wooded, are everywhere, and they actually dug out. I had 7 of these, and they kept digging them up out of the pots, so the roots got too much cold. So only 3 made it, and then at a recent plant sale I got 2 more little starts of it, and I'll have to go grab some more for this plan that I have. But I'm going to show you this process, I guess. So here's my garden planning notebook. This is kind of how I get ideas for what different garden beds are going to look like. First, I write down what the name of the plant is. I write down the size, and then I write down the bloom time, so I have a general idea of when I should be expecting blooms or, you know, seasonal color. And then what I do is I sketch out the size of the bed. I'll go measure it out and put it over here on gridded paper. And then I'll draw it out. I have like a little circle tool that I'll use, and then I'll color code it. So I'm trying to plant in drifts here, so that it's easier on the eye, right? This is going to be hopefully some kind of Liatris. This will be little Bluestem. This is the Yarrow. I'm trying to get some butterfly weed. I'll talk about that later. What's this called? The Rudbeckia. And I think that's it. So I try and plant in drifts. I don't know if these drifts are actually big enough, right? This is just 3 plants, 3 plants, 3 plants. But it kind of makes it feel less chaotic, and lets the eye rest a little bit if you've got bigger swaths of plants, and if you have repeats throughout, right? I want it to feel intentional. There's, I think, a type of native gardening which is appeals to more of a collector aesthetic, right? Where you try and get as much and as many different things as possible, which is definitely cool, definitely a way to, I think, attract probably more pollinators than I'm doing, provide more habitat for more pollinators. But I've also got kind of an artist's mind behind it. I saw on the YouTube channel Garden Moxie, she said something along the lines of like, gardening is living art, and that really resonated with me. Right, so this is my idea, but we all know plants are alive, so we'll see what they do. We'll see if I can get some Liatris. I don't want to just go grab anything. I've been trying to make this bed. Well, I tried to make it all from seed, but not everything came up. So we'll just kind of see how it comes together. I'll show it to you down below. Okay, so this is my preliminary layout of this little part sun bed. It gets morning sun, afternoon shade, I would say. And again, there are gaps in here because there's no Liatris, and one of it was around the corner, so I'm less concerned about that. But I did notice when I was putting things down, some of this replacement little Bluestem I got maybe has 2 plants in the pot. I'll have to see when I take it apart. If so, that'll bring me up to 7 plants, which is basically what I started with, which would be wonderful. And then I could fill those gaps in as well. I still have to, I want to measure. I learned last year that just putting things down and not measuring is a recipe for chaos and failure and digging up plants after you see everything that goes wrong. So eyeballing it is not the way, so I'm going to measure, but it's hot out and sunny, so I'm going to come back when this, in the afternoon, when this is shaded over, or maybe another day. Another thing I wanted to talk about was these butterfly weed. I had tried to grow them from seeds I got it at Seed Exchange, but I guess they were too old. I just found them at a farmer's market, Seed Exchange, and none of them germinated. So I went and I bought 2. I wanted, I think, 8. But I have 2 main sections, and I was just trying to save some money by not buying 8. And I was like, maybe I'll just buy 2, and hopefully these will be, or sorry, I bought 4. 2 for each section, because I have 2 sections, but I bought 4. And I was like, maybe I can get these to get bigger, and I'll save some money and just save the seeds and grow them next time. I don't even know. We'll see if that works. We'll see if it's even sunny enough for butterfly weed here anyway. I think that one's a little bit more of a gamble than some of the other stuff that I've decided to put here. Okay, we'll come back when it's shady. Okay, so I've gone ahead and laid everything out that's going to go here. These are left over from my vegetable garden last year. I didn't know if I wanted to use it to rope things in or fence things in because of the deer and the squirrels. And I have seen a bunny or 2 around. But everything's kind of placed in its spot. There are rocks in there as placeholders because some things I have to divide out of the pots and some things I just don't have because the seeds didn't germinate. And then I have some soil conditioner and some mulch just to kind of help the cardboard decompose. The oak leaves don't decompose very quickly, and you know, no weeds grew up through here. There's a layer of cardboard and oak leaves, but also just to kind of add a little health back to the soil and also kind of define where the plants are and hopefully, honestly, keep the squirrels out. No one talks about rodent pressure, I feel. They talk about deer and they talk about rabbits, but man, I feel like my biggest enemy is the squirrels. They'll dig up anything I plant. You can even see I had some of these plants down here for about a week. I'm like, look, that's squirrels. Squirrels have pulled it up out of its pot. Do not plant Liriope spicata or sleeping lily turf. It is, I don't know if it's actually classified invasive, but it's not native, super aggressive. Look at this. This is cardboard I laid down to try and kill it, and it just came right through. It will go underneath your driveway and show up on the other side. The only way to get rid of it is to dig it out, and then it's got all these little tubers that will come back to life, and it will grow from that. It is so hard to get rid of. It's everywhere in my yard, and I hate it. It's gonna be in this wildflower bed I'm working on. Sorry if it's going in and out of focus. I guess it's the dappled light or whatever. You know, the Master Gardeners of Northern Virginia have a really good series where they talk about invasive plants. I'll try to link to it with this video, because they have a good one on this and good replacements you can have instead of this. Another one not to plant, Nandina. I pulled this out last year, but any root fragments left in the ground will come back, and it spreads around it. It spreads, if you cut it back, it spreads by seed. It is classified invasive. And you know, it's sold in garden centers all over. One of the garden centers near me has a little display of like, plant native, get inspired by native plants, but then you walk a couple rows over and they're selling all kinds of Nandinas. So, you know, be careful out there, folks. Little friend. I think I did pretty okay getting everything in without misplacing everything, but this right here, this is only a foot from this, and they have a 2-foot spread each. I'm trying to keep everything 18 inches apart. So that, I think, was supposed to be down here. So I'm gonna move that real quick. Okay, here is, I'm gonna call the finished enough project. I'm running out of time here, so in the day. So everything is in. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on because everything's really droopy because it needed water probably before it went in. There are some rocks in places where I don't have plants, and a plant in places. And yeah, we'll come back in a couple days and see if things perk up and look any better. Okay, here we are, day 2. I watered it some more. I cleaned it up. I gave it an edge. Still looking a little rough. Some of those Liatris back there that were really droopy are leaning on their little stakes, so they're not actually perked up yet. Hopefully things come back to life in the next couple days. Ooh. And here we are a couple weeks later, and things have kind of bounced back. And I haven't had to replace anything. I added a couple things in, but so far it's looking pretty good. Everything seems to be doing okay. So one thing that I did is I put plants or feature points everywhere I needed a plant, but I didn't have one. Mostly for butterfly weed. So there and back there. Those are some California poppies that I was trying to grow. And those are some blue mist flower that I had. And I just put those in those rocks right there. That's all filling in for some butterfly weed that I didn't have. I did buy one butterfly weed. Told myself I wasn't going to, but like a big one at the nursery. I was there and I was like, well, might as well fill in one spot. And then I still have my tiny ones, but this one will flower this year, which will be fun. And the reason I was at the nursery is because of the Liatris situation. I went to the nursery, I bought a Liatris spicata, which I had in my mind wasn't native, but then I looked at it and it is. And I tried to divide it. I didn't know if you could, but I tried. And the answer is maybe not. And most of it was really wilty when I put it in the ground. That's one thing I learned. Even if you're about to plant something, you don't know how long it's going to take before things get in the ground, to make sure everything's really well watered before you start digging and planting, or else it'll get really, really sad. So it was really wilty, and then I tried dividing it, which was just maybe too much stress on these poor guys, these kobold cultivars of Liatris spicata. This one might be okay. It's trying so hard. This one is trying a little bit too, but because I was pretty confident that I had killed it all, I went back and I got this, also Liatris spicata, dense Blazingstar, or gay feather, as some people call it. As we like to call it in my house. And, you know, that one's also going to flower this year, so that will also be fun. But this one I didn't divide. I just let it be nice and big, and boy is it big, and boy does it need a lot of water for something that, I don't know, thought was supposed to be good in dry conditions. But you know, I think it's maybe because it's new, but I just feel like I'm out here every other day watering it, and with my shrubs and stuff, when I put it in, I don't have to baby it quite as much. But this is huge, so maybe that's part of it. So normally when thinking about garden design, you want to be taking into account heights. You want to play with levels. You want some things that are high, some things that are low. But this whole patch, everything is going to get to about 3 feet tall. And that's because this, where we are on my deck, is the main viewpoint for it. It's also because it was the first thing I designed, and, well, second thing, I guess my foundation bed was the first I designed. Well, or did I design this after I just kind of threw things in the ground in my foundation bed? I think that's more accurate. So this is the first one I actually designed. And I was like, well, I'll just keep them all the same height. They're all flowers, right? So again, normally you'd want to take into height, but that's not as big of a deal when you're viewing it from above. I'm happy with how things are doing. Excited to see how this grows and changes over the course of the next couple years.